Hey guys, Jeremiah here trapping today. I wanted to give you a quick overview of the Duke number 4 Coilspring trap. So the reason that I'm reviewing this trap is actually, to be honest with you, I'm getting ready to sell my Duke number 4s on eBay. So I'm going to try to provide a kind of an unbiased review, but I am a little biased. I'm not really a huge fan of the trap, but I thought since I have them in hand right now, I would give you an overview of the trap. I bought half a dozen of these last year to use in a little bit of beaver trapping I was doing at the time, and they were affordable, cheap trap. I didn't have a lot of money to spend, so I picked them up. These traps are going to be, they're number 4. They're Coilspring. The ones I got actually are 4-coiled, so they get the 2 main springs here and then the 2 helper springs on the other side. And the jaw spread of the trap is about 6.5 inches outside to outside of the jaw and 6 1/8 inside jaw spread. So these traps actually are not legal for use in land trapping where I am. I have a 5 3/8 jaw spread inside requirement. So I bought these for beaver trapping for underwater use, which we can do here. So the trap in general, just a quick thing about Duke traps, they are going to be the cheapest, lowest cost traps on the market. With the low cost, you tend to get a lower quality. So you can't really expect a lot from these traps as much as you would expect from other traps that are going to be more costly. Just the first thing on the base plate you see, it says made in China. So the people that are putting these together are not trappers by any means. They probably don't even really know much about what they're used for. So you're going to have to take that into consideration. The trap is going to work. It's going to have some flaws, but it's a functioning trap. The issue is if you want this to be a really good working trap, that's not going to happen out of the box. You're going to have to do a lot of modifications to it and hope that it works out. So just the very first thing that I see is, so we have the chain center mounted to the base plate, which is a good thing. Most traps nowadays are coming with that feature. They used to mount them to the side, and that was not as good for catches and for a number of different things. But this mount is actually mounted with a piece that is clamped on, kind of crimped onto the base plate. So, I don't know, you can't see it very well, but it's not welded or anything. So I am a little bit concerned. They must have a machine or something that clamps that down. It looks fairly rugged, but if you had a really strong animal yanking on that, there's probably some potential for that to come loose. The jaws, or the base plate and the cross member are actually riveted together, not welded. There is a little bit of welding here to put on the mount for the pan. The trap has a traditional pan and dog system that you see in most Coilspring traps, or that's been common for a long time. It works. It just, out of the box, it requires a lot of work. I'm looking at this one here. It looks like the square stock that was cut in order to make this dog. This one was actually cut a little bit at an angle, and so it's not level across. It's got, on one side, it's kind of wore off a little bit, and then the others, there's kind of a bevel or something there, and then there's a burr on the edge where the cut was completed. That's going to have to be filed, and it's going to have to be filed to where you are comfortable with your dog, and then your notch on the trap pan is probably going to have to be filed to whatever you like to have there, but you're probably not going to be able to set that right out of the box. The cross member that holds the dog, that is going to need to be adjusted so that you have a level pan. Out of the 6 that I bought, I think I had to adjust at least 4 of them to get the pan set level. That's level kind of up and down with the pan. Also side to side, you're going to have to look at it, and this one, the pan is actually tilted off to the side here. So that pan, you're going to have to grab that with some channel locks or vice grips or something and twist it so that it's setting level. The pan tension is adjustable. There's a nut there, a bolt with a lock nut, which is good. to have. You're going to have to watch that though, just to make sure it stays consistent. The jaws, I mean, this is just kind of your standard jaws, nothing special about them. Overall, like the levers, the jaws, the base plate, the Duke trap is probably going to be a lower carbon steel. I don't know exactly what it is, but it seemed to be a little bit of a softer steel than a lot of other traps that I've used. And you notice this if you tend to have a newer trap with a lot of tension on the springs, really strong springs, and in certain situations that metal can bend. The Duke body grip traps, I've bent quite a few of them. You got to watch, like if you were to have this set and you take a piece of metal to trip the trap and those jaws come down on something metal, there's a potential to have some bend in the jaws. So something to watch out for. The other thing is the edges. It looks like most of these pieces, the edges were filed off so that you don't have any burrs or anything to catch a foot or to catch you while you're trying to set the trap and get scratched up. There are a few places where I would probably file down edges a little bit more just to clean them up a little bit, but that's your personal preference. So let's go ahead and set the trap. One thing I don't like about it is where the swivel's mounted on the base plate. It's a big bulky swivel, and if the trap's it's not going to set level. What that means is if you bed that trap at a set, you're going to have to dig, on a dirt set, you're going to have to dig a depression underneath this to make sure the trap's going to bed good, and you're not going to get hung up high centered with this piece here, which most of us do anyway. So good strong springs, brand new trap right out of the box, so we'd expect good strong springs on it. And set's pretty easy. One big issue that I see here immediately is, well, first off, the dog and pan system, that is going to have to be adjusted. You don't really know when the pan's going to fire, and the pan right now has a lot of travel to it, so that's going to have to be adjusted to make sure you are happy with the amount of travel. But the big thing here is, notice that the loose jaw is setting higher than the opposite jaw, and so that trap is not level when set, and most of mine did this. What you have to do, it means there's pressure from those helper springs is pushing this lever up at an angle, and that's going to have to be bent back down so that you can drop the loose jaw down and have that level. I mean, you could set it like this, but it tends to make, if you bed this so this thing is below the ground level, your pan's going to be quite a bit lower maybe than you want. So I really don't like that. I like a trap that's going to sit flat and sit level. So that's going to be something you'll want to adjust. So overall, it's a working trap. I mean, out of the box, you can take these and set them and make them work. They're the cheaper end. They're probably the cheapest traps you're going to find. So not bad for the money if you're just getting started in trapping and you don't really have a lot of money to invest. These are decent traps to start out with, but it's something to keep in mind. You got to know the limitations of these traps. You're gonna have to tinker with them out of the box. You can't just grab them and go, because you're gonna have issues. You're gonna have situations where the dog's gonna be all pressed down all the way down and the trap hasn't fired, and you miss an animal. There's gonna be a number of different things you may not like about this right out of the box. So good trap if you don't mind tinkering and fixing things up. If you want one right out of the box, you're going to spend more money for a higher quality trap. I hope this helps, and we'll catch you in the next video.